The book was supposed to be fiction. Then I got to the part where my brother-in-law describes the scar on my collarbone that no one else knows about. I need to tell you something I haven't told anyone. Not my therapist. Not my best friend. Not even the people I trust most in this world, because the moment I say it out loud it becomes real, and I'm not sure I'm ready for that. But I can't sleep anymore. I can't sit through family dinners. I can't look at my sister without feeling like I'm holding a grenade with the pin half pulled. So here it is. My sister's husband wrote a novel. And it's about me. Not in the way you think. Not some sweet homage or fictionalized memory. No, it's about wanting me, about regretting her, about rewriting the past so that he ends up with me instead. And I don't know if he gave it to me as a confession, a threat, or an invitation. Let me start from the beginning. My sister and I have never been close. We're 4 years apart, which doesn't sound like much, but when you're kids, it's everything. She was the baby. I got the responsibility. By the time we were adults, we'd settled into this uneasy truce. Polite, surface level, we didn't fight, but we didn't really talk either. And then she started dating my ex-boyfriend. Yes, that ex-boyfriend, the one from high school. His name is Daniel. We dated for 2 years when I was 16. It was intense in the way only teenage relationships can be. All-consuming, volatile, the kind of thing that felt like the center of the universe until it imploded. When we broke up, it was ugly. He said things. I said things. We didn't speak for years. I moved on, dated other people, built a life. Honestly, I barely thought about him, until my sister brought him to Thanksgiving 5 years ago. I almost dropped the wine bottle. She was glowing. He looked older, calmer. She introduced him like she'd discovered some hidden treasure, and I just stood there trying to figure out if this was a prank. It wasn't, she was serious. And he was serious. And I had to sit there and pretend this wasn't the weirdest thing that had ever happened to our family. My parents were uncomfortable but supportive. My sister was defensive before anyone even said anything. She kept insisting it wasn't weird. That people grow up. That the past is the past. And maybe she was right. Maybe I was overthinking it, so I tried. I tried to be civil. I tried to be happy for her. I tried to act like it didn't feel like some kind of cosmic joke. They got engaged a year later, married a year after that. And for 2 years, I played the role of the supportive older sister. I smiled in photos. I made toasts at the wedding. I showed up to dinners and birthdays and holidays. But there was always this tension, this unspoken thing between Daniel and me. He was never rude, never inappropriate. But there was something in the way he looked at me sometimes. Something in the pauses when we were alone in the kitchen. Something in the way he'd bring up high school memories that no one else cared about. My sister noticed. She started making comments. Little jabs, you're being weird around him. Are you uncomfortable because you're jealous? You need to let go of the past. I wasn't jealous, I was confused, because he was the one who kept trying to connect, not me. About 6 months ago he started messaging me more. Nothing overtly wrong, just more. Hey, how's work going? Saw this article and thought of you. We should all grab dinner soon. I talked to my therapist about it. She said maybe he was trying to repair the relationship. Maybe he felt guilty about the awkwardness. Maybe this was his way of showing my sister he could be mature, so I responded. Short, polite, friendly enough. And then, 3 weeks ago, he asked if I'd read his novel. He said he'd been working on it for 2 years. He said he wanted honest feedback. He said he knew I had connections in publishing, and he valued my opinion. I hesitated, but I thought maybe this is good. Maybe this is him trying to include me in his life in a normal way. Maybe I'm overthinking everything. So I said yes. He sent it the next day. A PDF, 300 pages. The title was the second choice. I should have known then. I started reading it that night. The first chapter was fine. A man reflects on his marriage, it's stable, comfortable, but something feels missing. Standard literary fiction setup. By chapter 3, I started to feel uneasy. The protagonist's wife is described as soft, safe, the kind of woman who never challenges him. His sister-in-law, though. She's sharp, unpredictable, the one who got under his skin and stayed there. I told myself it was coincidence. Writers pull from life, it doesn't mean anything. But then came chapter 5, a flashback. The protagonist remembers his first love. A girl he dated in high school. She had a scar on her collarbone from a bike accident when she was 12. I have that scar. I've never posted about it online. It's not something I talk about. But Daniel knew. He used to trace it with his fingers when we were teenagers. My hands started shaking. I kept reading. Chapter 7. The protagonist watches his sister-in-law at a family dinner. She's wearing a green sweater. She laughs at something his wife says, but he notices the laugh doesn't reach her eyes. He wonders if she's pretending too. If she feels the same tension he does. If she ever thinks about what could have been. I wore a green sweater to their last family dinner. I remember because my sister complimented it. And I remember Daniel staring at me from across the table. I thought I was imagining it. I wasn't. By chapter 10, I felt sick. The protagonist starts engineering moments alone with the sister-in-law. He offers to help her move furniture. He suggests coffee to catch up. He rewrites their shared history in his head, convincing himself that she left him, not the other way around. That she's the one who ran. That if she just stayed, everything would be different. It wasn't true. He broke up with me. He told me I was too much. That I made him feel suffocated. But in the book, she's the one who destroyed him. And he spent years trying to move on, trying to be happy, trying to love the woman he married. But he can't, because he married the wrong sister. I stopped reading at midnight. I couldn't breathe. This wasn't fiction. This was a confession, or worse, a fantasy. I forced myself to keep going. Chapter 15. The protagonist begins testing boundaries. He touches the sister-in-law's arm a little too long. He stands a little too close. He makes comments that could be innocent or could be loaded, depending on how you interpret them. You always knew how to get in my head. I think about the past more than I should. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if things went differently? And the sister-in-law. She doesn't respond, she doesn't pull away, she just freezes, which he interprets as interest. As an opening, I wanted to scream, because I've frozen around him. I've gone silent when he said things that felt too familiar. Not because I wanted him. Because I didn't know what to do. Because I didn't want to cause a scene. Because I didn't want my sister to accuse me of overreacting. But in his mind, in this book, my silence meant something else. Chapter 23. The protagonist starts keeping a journal. He writes about the sister-in-law, her routines, her habits, the way she takes her coffee, the books she reads, the way she tucks her hair behind her ear when she's nervous. He catalogs her, studies her, learns her, and he starts to believe that she's doing the same, that she's waiting for him to make a move, that all he has to do is show her he's serious, that all he has to do is prove he chose wrong. My chest felt tight, because he knows things about me, things I didn't think he noticed. The fact that I always order decaf after 3 p.m., the fact that I bite my nails when I'm anxious, the fact that I reread the same book every October. How does he know that? Why does he know that? Chapter 30. The protagonist's wife starts to notice. She asks him if something's wrong, if he's unhappy, if he still loves her, and he lies. He tells her everything's fine, he tells her he's just stressed, he tells her he's just tired, but in his head, he's imagining what it would feel like to tell the truth, to say, I made a mistake, to say, I should have fought harder for her, to say, I think about your sister every single day. And then he imagines her reaction. The tears, the anger, the betrayal, and he decides it's not worth it. Not yet. Not until he knows the sister-in-law feels the same. I wanted to throw my laptop across the room. Because this wasn't just a story. This was a plan. The book ends ambiguously. The protagonist doesn't act on his obsession. But he doesn't let it go either. He tells himself he'll wait. He'll watch. He'll be patient. And if the opportunity ever comes, if she ever gives him a sign, he'll take it. The last line made my stomach drop. Some fires don't go out, they just wait for oxygen. I closed the laptop. I sat in the dark for an hour, and then I realized something. He gave this to me on purpose. He wanted me to read it. He wanted me to see myself in it. He wanted me to know. This wasn't a manuscript. This was a message. I didn't sleep that night. I kept replaying every interaction we'd had over the past 5 years. Every comment, every look, every moment I thought I was imagining things. I wasn't imagining things, he was testing me, and I didn't even realize it. The next morning I felt numb. I didn't know what to do. Do I tell my sister? Do I confront him? Do I pretend I never read it? I called my best friend. I didn't tell her everything, just enough. He wrote a book, it's weird, I think it's about me. She asked if I was sure, I said yes. She asked what I was going to do, I said I didn't know. She told me to trust my gut. My gut told me to run. But I couldn't, because my sister loves him, and if I tell her, she'll never believe me. She'll think I'm jealous. She'll think I'm trying to ruin her marriage. She'll think I'm the problem. 3 days later, Daniel texted me. Hey, did you get a chance to read it? I stared at the message for 10 minutes. I didn't know what to say. If I said I loved it, would he think I was encouraging him? If I said I hated it, would he get defensive? If I didn't respond, would he push harder? I typed and deleted 5 different responses. Finally, I sent. I read it. It's intense, I need some time to process. He replied immediately. Take all the time you need, I just wanted your honest thoughts, you're one of the only people who would really get it. I felt my skin crawl. Why me? Why did I have to be the one who got it? I didn't respond, and he didn't follow up, which somehow made it worse. Because now he's just waiting. A week passed. I avoided family dinners. I told my sister I was busy with work. She didn't push, but then last Sunday she called me. Are you okay? I said I was fine. You've been distant. I said I was just stressed. Daniel said you've been weird since he gave you his book. My heart stopped. He told her. Why would he tell her? I'm not being weird, I said. I'm just busy. He's really proud of that book, she said. He worked so hard on it. I think it would mean a lot to him if you gave him real feedback. I didn't know what to say. She kept talking. I know things have been awkward between you two, but he's really trying. He wants you to be part of our lives. He wants us to feel like a family. I wanted to scream. Instead, I said, I'll reach out to him soon. Thank you, she said. I love you. I love you too. I hung up, and I cried, because I realized something. If I tell her the truth, she'll side with him. She'll say I'm overreacting. She'll say it's just fiction. She'll say I'm projecting. And I'll be the villain. 2 days ago, something else happened. I was at the grocery store. I turned down the cereal aisle. And there he was, Daniel, alone. He saw me and smiled. Hey, small world. I forced a smile back. Yeah, hi. He walked toward me too close. So, he said. What did you think? I knew what he meant. About the book, he nodded. It's well written, I said carefully. He tilted his head. That's it. I'm still processing it. Did you see yourself in it? My blood went cold. I didn't answer. He leaned in slightly. I was hoping you would. I took a step back. I have to go. Wait, I walked away fast. I didn't look back, but I felt him watching me. Last night I got another text. From him. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. I just thought you'd understand what I was trying to say. You always understood me better than anyone else. I didn't respond. An hour later, another message. I know this is complicated, but I don't think we should pretend anymore. Pretend what? I wanted to block him, but I was afraid of what he'd do if I did. Another message. I think we both know there's something unfinished between us. I turned my phone off. This morning my sister called. Daniel said you ran into him at the store. Yeah, he said you seemed upset. I wasn't upset. Then why won't you talk to him? I didn't answer. He's trying so hard, she said. Why can't you just meet him halfway? Because he wrote a book about being obsessed with me. Because he thinks I want him. Because I don't know if he's delusional or dangerous. But I didn't say any of that. I just said I need to talk to you in person. There was a long pause. Okay, she said quietly. When? Today? Can you come over? Is everything okay? No, I said, it's not. She arrived 2 hours later. I'd spent the entire time pacing. Rehearsing what I was going to say, how I was going to explain. She walked in looking worried. What's going on? I gestured to the couch. Sit down. She did. I stayed standing. I read Daniel's book, I said. I know. He told me. Did he tell you what it's about? She frowned. He said it's a thriller about marriage and regret. I nodded. It is, but it's more specific than that. I handed her my laptop. The manuscript was still open. Read chapter 7, then chapter 15, then chapter 30. She looked at me like I was crazy. Why? Just read them, please. She took the laptop. I watched her face as she read, first confusion, then recognition. Then something darker. She looked up at me. This is about me, I finished. Yes, her face went pale. He wrote this about you. He gave it to me to read. He wanted me to see myself in it. He wanted me to know. She stared at the screen. This can't be. He wouldn't. He described my scar, the one from the bike accident. The green sweater I wore to your last dinner, my coffee order, things he shouldn't remember. Things he's been cataloging. Her hands were shaking. Maybe you're reading too much into it. Writers pull from life. It doesn't mean. I pulled out my phone. I showed her the texts. All of them, the ones from the grocery store. The ones about not pretending anymore. The ones about something unfinished. She read them in silence. When she looked up, there were tears in her eyes. How long has this been going on? 6 months of messages. But I think it's been longer than that. I think he's been watching me for years, and I didn't realize until I read the book. She stood up. She was breathing hard. I need to talk to him. Wait, no. I need to hear him say it. I need to hear him explain this. I grabbed her arm. What are you going to do? I don't know, she said, but I can't just sit here. She left. I didn't try to stop her. 3 hours passed. I didn't hear from her. I didn't hear from him. I sat in my apartment and waited. Finally, at 9 p.m. she called. Can I come back over? Of course. She arrived 20 minutes later. Her eyes were red. She'd been crying. She sat down on the couch. I confronted him. What did he say? She laughed bitterly. At first he denied it. He said you were misinterpreting, that it was fiction. That you were making it about yourself. And then I showed him the texts. I asked him why he was messaging you, why he was saying those things, why he gave you a book where the main character is obsessed with his sister-in-law. She wiped her eyes. He broke down. He said he didn't mean for it to get this far. That it started as just processing old feelings. That writing was his way of dealing with the past. But the more he wrote, the more he realized he was still. She couldn't finish. Still what? I asked quietly. Still in love with you. The words hung in the air. He said marrying me was a mistake, that he thought he could make it work, that he thought he could move on. But every time he saw you, it all came back. And the book was his way of finally being honest, even if it was just on the page. I felt sick. I'm so sorry, she shook her head. This isn't your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. You were just trying to be family. And he manipulated that. He used it. What are you going to do? She took a deep breath. I told him to leave. He's staying at a hotel tonight. Tomorrow he's moving out. I'm filing for divorce. My heart broke for her. Are you okay? She looked at me, really looked at me. No, she said, but I will be. She paused. Thank you for telling me. I know it was hard. And I know I haven't always been easy about this, but thank you. I hugged her. For the first time in years, it felt real. That was 4 days ago. Daniel hasn't contacted me since. My sister is staying with our parents while she figures things out. We talk every day now, really talk. She told me she'd suspected something was off for months, that he'd been distant, distracted, but she convinced herself it was work stress, that it was normal marriage stuff. She never imagined it was this. Yesterday something arrived in the mail, a package, no return address. I opened it carefully. Inside was a hardcover copy of the book, published. The dedication read, "For the one who inspired every word, you know who you are." My stomach dropped. He published it. Before any of this happened, he'd already sent it to print. I called my sister immediately. He published the book. Silence. When? I don't know, but I just got a copy in the mail. Did he send it to you? I think so. More silence. What does that mean? She asked. I don't know, but I did know. It meant he'd been planning this, all of it. The manuscript was never just about processing feelings. It was about making a statement, about forcing a moment, about seeing if I'd recognize myself and respond. And when I didn't respond the way he wanted, he published it anyway. Because in his mind, this was always going to be the ending. Me, holding his words. Him, waiting to see what I'd do with them. I haven't opened the book. I don't need to. I already know what's inside. But I keep thinking about something my sister said. He wanted you to feel what he felt. He wanted you to know what it's like to be haunted by someone you can't have. And she's right. Because now I do know. I know what it feels like to be watched, to be catalogued, to be turned into fiction without consent, to have someone rewrite your past and claim to understand your present. I know what it feels like to be the object of someone's obsession. And it doesn't feel like love. It feels like being erased. Last night I did something I probably shouldn't have. I looked him up online. His author page. The book is listed. 5 reviews so far, all 5 stars. One of them stopped me cold. It was from someone with the username Second Chances. The review read, "A haunting exploration of roads not taken. The protagonist's longing feels so real you wonder if the author lived it. The ending is perfect because it's unresolved. Just like life, some fires never go out, they just wait." The account was created the day the book went live. I clicked on the profile. No other reviews, no other activity, just that one. I know who wrote it, and I know why. He's still waiting, still watching, still believing that one day I'll read it again and see it differently, that I'll finally understand what he was trying to say, that I'll come around. But here's what he doesn't understand. I'm not a character in his story. I'm not a symbol or a fantasy or a second choice. I'm a person, and I get to decide how my story ends. Not him. So here's what I did. I took the book. I drove to my sister's place. We sat in her kitchen, and we burned it, page by page. We didn't talk while we did it. We just watched it turn to ash. When it was done, she looked at me. Do you think he'll write another one? I thought about it. Maybe. Will it be about you again? Probably. She smiled sadly. Then let him write 100 books. He's still going to be alone at the end of them. And she was right, because the story he's telling himself isn't real. It never was. It's been 2 weeks now. Daniel moved out of state. Mutual friends say he's working on his second novel. My sister is doing better. She's in therapy. She's rediscovering who she is without him. And me. I'm trying to move forward. But sometimes, late at night, I still think about that last line. Some fires don't go out, they just wait for oxygen. And I wonder if he's still waiting, if he's still writing. If somewhere in his head, he's crafting a different ending. One where I read the book again. One where I finally understand. One where I show up at his door and tell him he was right. But that's his story, not mine. And I'm done being a character in someone else's narrative. The book is still out there. People are still reading it, still reviewing it, still calling it hauntingly real. And every time someone reads it, they're reading a version of me that doesn't exist. A version he created. A version that lives in his imagination. But that's okay, because the real me is here, living my actual life, writing my own story. And his version is just words on a page, and pages burn. But there's something I can't stop thinking about. Something that keeps me up at night. In the book, the protagonist's obsession doesn't end with the sister-in-law. It ends with him writing about her, turning his feelings into fiction, making her immortal on the page. And the more I think about it, the more I realize something terrifying. He didn't write that book to confess. He wrote it to trap me. Because now, no matter what I do, I'm part of his story. If I respond, I'm engaging. If I stay silent, I'm complicit. If I write my own version, I'm proving he got to me. And if I do nothing, then his version is the only one that exists, the only record, the only truth. So maybe he won, not because I loved him back, but because he made sure I could never fully escape him. Because somewhere, someone is reading his book right now, and they're imagining me, the version of me he created, the one who's still frozen in his grocery store aisle, still wearing that green sweater, still haunted by a past I didn't even know was being rewritten. And I wonder if that was the point all along, not to get me back, but to make sure I could never forget him. To make sure that every time I introduce myself, every time someone Googles my name, every time I meet someone new who might have read his book, I'll wonder, do they see me? Or do they see his version? And which one is more real now? I don't have an answer to that yet. Maybe I never will. But I know one thing, he's writing the sequel, I can feel it. And this time I don't think it ends with waiting. I think it ends with something worse. With him deciding that if he can't have the real me, he'll settle for the fictional one. The one he controls. The one who exists only on his pages. The one who can never leave. And that's the part that scares me most. Not that he's obsessed, but that he's content with the obsession. That the story is enough for him. And I'm starting to realize that maybe it always was. Maybe I was never the goal, the book was, and now it's done. He got what he wanted. And I'm left here, trying to figure out how to be a real person again. How to exist outside of someone else's fiction. How to prove to myself that I'm more than a character. That I'm more than a muse. That I'm more than the one who got away. But some days, I'm not sure I believe it. Some days, I look in the mirror and wonder if he's the only one who really sees me. And that's how I know he's still winning. Not because I want him, but because he made me question who I am without him watching. And I don't know if I'll ever get that back. The version of me that existed before I knew I was being written. Before I knew I was fiction. Before I knew that someone could love you so much they erase you completely. And replace you with someone better. Someone who fits their story. Someone who makes sense on the page, even if that someone isn't real. Maybe that's the real horror. Not that he loved me, but that he loved the idea of me more. And now that idea is all that's left. And here's what nobody tells you about being someone's obsession. It doesn't end when they stop looking at you. It ends when you stop looking for them in every shadow. When you stop wondering if that car behind you is theirs. When you stop checking who viewed your profile. When you stop flinching at notifications. I'm not there yet. I don't know if I ever will be, because he made sure of that. He made sure that even when he's gone, he's still here. In every book I see. In every dedication I read. In every story about obsession and longing and the one who got away. He's there, waiting, watching, writing, and if you think this story is over, you're wrong. Because last night I got another package, no return address, and I haven't opened it yet. But I know what's inside, I can feel it. Another book, another story. Another version of me that I didn't consent to, and I have to decide. Do I open it? Do I read what he's written this time? Do I see how the story continues in his mind? Or do I finally break the cycle? Do I finally refuse to be his audience? Do I finally walk away from the narrative he keeps trying to trap me in? I don't know yet. The package is sitting on my table right now. Unopened. Waiting. Just like he taught it to. If you want to know what's inside that package. If you want to know what Daniel wrote in his second book. If you want to know whether I finally escaped his story or if I'm still trapped in it, let me know in the comments. Because part 2 of this nightmare is something you need to hear. And trust me, what he wrote this time will make the first book look like a love letter.